Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the First Unitarian Society of Milwaukee's online worship service. I'm Reverend Kimberly Tomchek Carlson, and I'm honored to serve as the First Unitarian Society of Milwaukee's Minister of Religious Education. We welcome people of all genders, sexualities, ages, races, ethnicities, histories, and bodies. We welcome your mind, your heart, and your spirit. We welcome all you are carrying today and all your heart longs to set down. I welcome you to worship service by inviting you to repeat our mission after me. We gather to nurture the spirit, engage the mind, and inspire action. Our opening reading today is by Adria Marie Brown. Do you already know that your existence, who and how you are, is in and of itself a contribution to the people and the places around you? Not after or because you do something particular, but simply the miracle of your life. And that the people around you and the places have contributions as well? Do you understand that the quality of life and your survival are tied to how authentic and generous the connections are between you and the people and the place you live with and in? Are you actively practicing generosity and vulnerability in order to make the connections between you and the others clear, open, available, durable? Generosity here means giving what you have without strings or expectations attached. Vulnerability means showing your needs.
Let me tell you the parable of the spoons. There once was a mystic who was fascinated by the idea of heaven and hell. One day, in a deep meditation, the mystic came face to face with the creator of the universe. And of course, their first question was, what is the nature of the relationship between heaven, hell, and earth? And the creator of the universe clapped its cosmic hands. And immediately the two were in a room. In the center of this room, there was a round table. And in the center of that table, there was a roaring fire. Over the fire, there was a huge cauldron of a seething stew with a smell so enchanting that the mystic was drawn closer to the table, but not too close, because all around the table, there were sickly, unhealthy, groaning people, each of them with a long spoon, long enough to reach the cauldron in the center of the table, but not long enough to feed themselves. And they all struggled and they tried hard, but they never quite managed. The mystic didn't need to ponder long to understand that this was hell. Instantly, the creator of the universe clapped those cosmic hands again, and they were in a different room, except it was the same room. So much of the room was identical. There was the round table, the roaring fire, the cauldron with that delicious smelling stew in the center, and around it, people seated. But these people looked healthy. They looked happy. In fact, they were laughing and telling each other stories and jokes. Some of them were singing songs. Some of them were just listening attentively. And they also had those same long, overlong spoons. But as they dipped out of the stew, they didn't trouble themselves trying to make that long spoon reach back to their mouths. They simply reached across the table and fed someone else. And when they were hungry, they had the humility and the clarity of mind to open their mouths and let themselves be fed. The mystic didn't have to ponder long to recognize that this was heaven. And the beauty of this story is that it isn't just about heaven and hell as an afterlife idea, but it shows us how we can choose to experience heaven or hell here on earth. And as a matter of fact, this story inspired this song. No one gets to heaven alone, to heaven alone, to heaven alone. No one gets to heaven alone. We get there side by side, side by side, side by side, side by side. We get there side by side. No one heals the world on their own, the world on their own, the world on their own. No one heals the world on their own. We're healing side by side, side by side, side by side, side by side. We're healing side by side. No one does the work on their own, the work on their own, the work on their own. No one does the work on their own. We're working side by side, side by side, side by side, side by side. We're working side by side, side by side. Side by side, side by side. We're healing side by side, side by side, side by side, side by side. We get there side by side.
Relax your body as full as you can. Feel your breathing in your lungs, in your abdomen, how it glides in, the oxygen igniting the cell, stirring it awake as it burns the metabolism of life. Extend your awareness deep to feel this energy. It's around you, sustaining you, weaving us into the web of life. Imagine you can see interlacing currents, like threads of light. See how they connect us, extend beyond this room, beyond this moment. Experience great strands of multiplicity formed by countless relationships, woven of work and food, and the laughter and the tears we've shared. They shape what you are. They hold you in place. Sense those threads. rest in them. The web sustains your bones and your blood and your skin. They are all part of you. We are the universe, knowing itself. To all in this time of great hardship, we go through a dark place, but we do not go alone. And we do not go without our timeless knowledge of the dark. There is nowhere you can go that you're not held by the web that sustains us all.
Spirit of light, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Flow with the wind, rise in the seas. Move in my hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of light, come to me, come to me.
Good morning. My name is Joby Clark, and it is my pleasure to be your worship associate this morning. I have a reading to share with you called Heaven and Hell at the Breakfast Table. Breakfast is an interesting experience in our household. Sometimes it's heaven. Sometimes it's hell. Some days we are friendly to each other. We pass the milk. No one hogs the cereal box. All is tranquil. Other mornings, things go badly. Everyone is rushed. Things are chaotic. We are running behind schedule. People are not on their best behavior. Breakfast is my first encounter of the day with fellow members of the human race. The interactions I experience at breakfast can set the tone for the rest of my day. This is because I tend to take my relationships with me wherever I go. If things are going well at home, then all is well with the world. If my family is experiencing domestic bliss, then peace pervades everywhere. On the other hand, if there is disharmony at breakfast, then I take it with me to work and anywhere else I might go that day. If breakfast is hell, and I try to escape breakfast turmoil by leaving the room or the house, it doesn't work. I usually take a feeling of discord with me. There seems to be no way to elude the ties that bind. In many ways, I feel the same about my relationship to my family as the author of the Book of Psalms felt about his relationship to God. Whither shall I go from thy spirit? or whither shall I flee from thy presence? If I ascend up into heaven, thou art there. If I make my bed in hell, behold, thou art there. Sometimes I ask myself, whither shall I go to flee from my relationships, whether they be my family, friends, or co-workers? Whither shall I go to escape my ties to my neighbors, whether they be rich or poor, male or female, gay or straight, red, brown, yellow, black, or white? For we are all members of one family, related to each other and to the divine. We are all gathered around the common table of creation. The way we relate to each other may mean the difference between heaven and hell. I do not believe that salvation is an escape from our relationships. It is not about simply waiting for some heaven or bliss in the hereafter. I believe that salvation can be the experience of peace, goodwill, and reconciliation in the here and now, in the context of our relationships. For if we do not experience salvation in the present moment, then we are unlikely to find it wherever we may go.
What wondrous love is this, O my soul, O my soul? What wondrous love is this, O my soul? What wondrous love is this that brings my heart such bliss and takes away the pain of my soul, and takes away the pain of my soul. When I was sinking down, sinking down, sinking down, when I was sinking down, sinking down, when I was sinking down, beneath my sorrow's ground, friends to me gathered round. Oh my soul, friends to me gathered round. Oh my soul, to love and to friends I will sing, I will sing. To love and to friends I will sing. To love and to friends, all pain and sorrow meant, with thanks unto the end I will sing, I will sing. With thanks unto the end I will sing. What wondrous love is this, O my soul, O my soul? What wondrous love is this, O my soul? What wondrous love is this that brings my heart such bliss and takes away the pain of my soul, and takes away the pain of my soul.
What wondrous love is this that brings my heart such bliss and takes away the pain of my soul? Why do birds sing in the morning? There are lots of theories, but the one I like is that they're calling out to one another, letting them know they made it through the night. We're still here. We're still connected. Our relationships sustain and define us. We may come into the world as an individual soul, but from the beginning, to know who we are also means discovering who and how we are connected. How we grow to understand the world and what sustains us is all grounded in relationships. Relationships we foster and form are vital to our well-being emotionally, spiritually, and physically. We're communal creatures, meant to survive and thrive in collaboration with one another. It's one of the reasons this time of COVID can feel like such a deep ache. We're missing one another. Professor of religion at Boston University, Stephen Prothero, suggests that different religions respond to different problems, that each faith defines for itself the problem in the world and the solution to that problem. For example, Christianity sees the problem in the world as sin, and the solution is salvation. Can you guess what Unitarian Universalists understand as the problem and the solution of the world? We tend to define the problem of the world as disconnection. When people see themselves separate or untethered, it creates problems in the world. The solution then, for us, to us, is connection or reconnection. Believing that if humanity truly could feel and know how we all are intertwined, are interdependent, that we could shift our systems to transform our world into a sustainable home, free of oppression. That's why we're on the side of love. Dr. Vivek Murthy, the 19th Surgeon General of the United States, in his book, Together, The Healing Power of Human Connection, makes a case before the pandemic even started that loneliness is a public health concern, a root cause and contributor to many of the world's problems today, from alcohol and drug addiction to violence, to depression and anxiety. Loneliness, he argues, is affecting not only our health, but also how our children experience school, how we perform in the workplace, and our sense of division and polarization in our society. As Unitarian Universalists, relationship is at the core of our shared theology. Within our faith, we believe differently about a lot of things. What we call the divine or the sacred, how prayer works, and even what it is we call when we gather together on Sunday. But what we know is we need each other to make it through the world, especially if we hope to reshape it for good. It is powerful and important for us to be with one another, even if it's on YouTube or Zoom or in the great outdoors. One of the founders of Unitarianism, the minister Francis David, said in the 16th century, "We need not think alike to love alike." We're taught a lot about falling in love and even bottle-fed on what love is, even when that may not be healthy or even hurtful. But what do we really know about loving each other well? We may be hardwired to be connected, but it's also true that right from the start, it's messy to be human. And it gets more messier when you add more humans, even when there's love. When I first met my partner, I really wanted to impress him, so I prepared my very best dish, Cajun shrimp. I had lived with a New Orleans chef in college and taught me the secret recipe. So I went out and I bought all 15 spices and cleaned those shrimp and lovingly prepared the meal. And he arrived and he was looking pretty in love with me and I was looking pretty in love with him. And he said he liked shrimp and he started to eat it and we were flirting and it was great. But I noticed partway through dinner that he was sweating a lot and he was turning kind of red. It turns out he loved me He loved shrimp, but his Swedish stomach did not love spices. Every romantic comedy plotline works because inevitably, no matter how motivated or well-intentioned we are, loving is essential and joyful and clumsy and agonizing and inconvenient. And if you're lucky, you get to laugh and learn together more than cry and lament. Cultivating love is a kind of spiritual practice. Like meditation or journaling or yoga, it takes practice and intention to flourish. We may fall in love, but sustaining love over time, growing love in our relationships, also takes profound kindness, humility, effort, vulnerability, and even grieving. I want to begin with the love languages, originally conceived by Dr. Gary Chapman to effectively express love between partners. This idea, though, now has been popularized and expanded on how we can just express love more to those we are already in relationship with. Our friends, our parents, our children, our teenagers and coworkers, and even our neighbors. The love language books attempt to help us to wrap our minds around the ways we give and receive love, and consider how to make sure that our efforts are felt. Chapman outlines 5 primary love languages, ways of communicating love that can be felt and understood. And he suggests that each of us have a primary love language, but that really all the love languages need to be utilized if we want to effectively cultivate love. I wonder, do you know your love language already? I wonder, do you know the love languages of those around you? There are 5 of them. They are words of affirmation, receiving gifts, quality time, acts of service, and physical contact. I'm going to go through them again, so take a moment and consider what kind of love makes your heart really swell. Is it with words, being told you are loved, or having someone tell you, well done, I appreciate you? It makes you feel deeply appreciated. Do you remember a time in your life where someone you deeply respected expressed pride in who you are? It can be a defining moment in life. Or do you prefer perhaps a token of affection, perhaps even an extravagant gift, or maybe just a handwritten note or handmade gift, something that lets you know you're really seen and appreciated? The English word for gift comes from the Greek word charis, which means grace, an undeserved gift. Perhaps you would prefer just taking more time with your beloveds, an afternoon walk or a long talk. Then quality time is your love language. Making time to make moments, to make memories together is what helps sustain you. Physical contact or touch, it's something that has been so hard to find for so many of us during this pandemic, as we now have to balance this need for this kind of love with real fear and risks every time we sit next to someone or even want a hug. I know when I was a child and I was in trouble with my mom, I knew things were going to be okay when we hugged at the end of an argument. Acts of service. Putting away the dishes in the dishwasher, making that extra trip to the store to get that thing. This one's my jam. My primary love language is showing up. It means the world to me. I know I'm loved by my family because I can tell you my family has helped me move more times than I can count. And I got to tell you, nobody likes to move. But that act of service throughout my life and its many transitions has grounded me in my family's acceptance and love throughout my life. In the world, when relationships can feel more transactional than soul satisfying, the love languages offer a tool to help us name and communicate and practice with our messy humans. And plus, it's kind of fun. This is from the book Together by Dr. Murthy. When studying solutions for loneliness, they found that the most beneficial relationships for our social and emotional health are reciprocal in nature. In other words, people who support each other tend to build the healthiest friendships. These mutually beneficial relationships remind us that we are worthy of love, which makes us feel better about ourselves. Caring for others may also strengthen our sense of purpose and meaning, as it shows us that we have the ability to make others' lives better. In these and many other ways, friendships create a positive feedback loop, teaching us to relate to ourselves with love as we relate to our friends. Love languages is perhaps an overly simple way of explaining how love is given and received, but love languages' redeeming quality is that it powerfully communicates that we all need different kinds of love. We are as diverse as the love we need to give and receive. Being asked what kind of reciprocity you're seeking, especially when you reach out to another in a time of deep need, can be also a potent catalyst for cultivating love. My guess is that we've all experienced some good, well-intentioned people whose help goes awry, and that we, on a time, have even been those well-intentioned, loving people. Our culture tends to teach a containment of crummy news. So maybe it's out of the fear of being too vulnerable or too authentic or not knowing what to say. We instead say things like, could have been worse, or at least nobody's dead, at least you still have your health, rather than just listen to somebody when they're in need. Sometimes you just need to let someone vent and to be affirmed that what they're going through is really crummy. These are the words of Parker Palmer, educator and activist. The human soul does not want to be advised or fixed or saved. It simply wants to be witnessed, exactly as it is. A part of Parker Palmer's good work in the world has been encouraging circles of trust, or peer discernment groups, who use simple, powerful, intentional ways of engaging with each other that cultivate connection. When somebody comes to the group with a question or a challenge, they are asked also to share what kind of reciprocity they are seeking. Advice is not given, but they can ask for resources, or they can ask for open, honest questions about their challenge so that when they're ready, they can guide themselves through the challenge. What a wise and powerful extension of trust and love. To listen fully and help empower someone to find their own solution, because really, that is the only one that will work for their journey forward. When I was sinking down beneath my sorrow's ground, friends to me gathered round. Oh, my soul, oh, my soul. Heraclitus said, "You never step in the same river twice. I've always loved that saying. I can visualize the river that my child and I frequent and how the water and the time and the seasons of the year and even we as people have changed since the last time we visited the river. Who we are and what our role is to one another keeps changing. We never really encounter the same person twice. Time changes each of us, and what another soul might be carrying or experiencing can be harder to see than a scene on a river hike. If love is to endure a relationship, it must be a verb shifting its expression. Relationship ruts can happen. Grooves of being together can be stabilizing, but unspoken concerns can paralyze love. Family patterns can bring us deep comfort, but they can also minimize the changes that each member has experienced as they grow and age. And there's just something about families that want to pull us into old routines and that can push all of our buttons. If love in a family is to endure and grow, we need to actively grieve the losing and the rediscovering of the people that we hold most dear. How we give and receive love keeps changing, and it's messy, and we will make a mess of it. And it's worth the risk of being known, of being loved. To love and to all the friends who pain and sorrow mend, with thanks unto the end, I will sing, I will sing. With thanks unto the end, I will sing. As Unitarian Universalists, we may never agree on the nature of heaven or hell or the creator of the universe, but we don't have to. We don't have to think alike to love alike. And if we want to create heaven here on earth, we need to feed one another. We need to love one another. No one heals the world alone. It takes connection and intention and love as a verb. In the wise words of activist and American revolutionary Grace Lee Boggs, transform yourself to transform the world. May it be so. Blessed be.
We have cleared off the table, the leftovers saved, washed the dishes and put them away. I have told you a story and tucked you in tight at the end of your knockabout day. As the moon sets its sails to carry you to sleep over the midnight sea, I will sing you a song no one sang to me. May it keep you good company. You can be anybody that you want to be. You can go whoever you will. You can travel any country that your wild heart leads, and know I will love you still. You can live by yourself, you can gather friends around, you can choose one special one, and the only measure of your words and your deeds will be the love you leave behind when you're done. Some girls grow up to be strong and bold, some boys are quiet and kind, some race on ahead and some follow behind. We all grow in our own space and time. Some women love women, some men love men, some raise children and some never do. You can dream all the day, never reaching the end of everything possible for you. You can be anybody that you want to be. You can love whoever you will. You can travel any country where your wild heart leads, and know I will love you still. You can live by yourself, you can gather friends around, you can choose a few special ones, and the only measure of your words and your deeds will be the love you leave behind when you're done. Don't be rattled by names, by taunts, by games. Seek out spirits kind and true. If you give this old world the very best of yourself, it will return the same to you. You can be anybody that you want to be. You can love whoever you will. You can travel any country that your white heart leads, and know I will love you still. You can live by yourself, you can gather friends around, you can choose one special one, but the only measure of your words and your deeds will be the love you leave behind when you're done. Will be the love you leave behind when you're done.
Thank you all for your generosity. Pledges are the core of our church's spiritual practice of generosity. We're also grateful for additional gifts to support our ministry and thank the folks out there who are appreciating this online ministry and supporting it by texting 73256 with the message "Give to you," or giving on our website bit.ly/UU ways to give. Your gifts help us to continue to provide this ministry. We also share the plate with an organization each month. In October, our Share the Plate partner is UN Association of Greater Milwaukee. The chapter is dedicated to educating, inspiring, and mobilizing citizens of southeastern Wisconsin to support the vital work of the United Nations. You can give to our Share the Plate partner through the same webpage. You can see all these options to donate on your screen now, and they will live on in the YouTube comments section of the video after worship is over. Thank you so much for giving now, for giving when you come back later. Your support keeps us and our community partners going. So thank you. The closing words I have for you today are written by Charles S. Stephen Jr. The name of the piece is Some Wishes for You. I wish for you a troubled heart at times, as woes of the world and friend come close beside and keep you sleepless. I wish for you the thrill of knowing who you are, where you stand, and why, especially why. Not prosperity, but dreams I wish for you. Not riches, but a sense of your own worth I wish for you. Not even a long life, however proud we be to have it so, but life that is crammed with living, hour by hour, and love I wish for you. May you give it frequently. I wish for you the solitude in the midst of company, and a mind full of company within your quiet times. full days I wish for you, and full tomorrow.
We are going, heaven knows where we are going. We know within, and we will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. Whoa, yeah, yeah. Whoa, yeah, yeah. Whoa, yeah, yeah. Whoa, yeah, yeah. Whoa, yeah,